there's a new addition in the FPL community, one that has brought about a lot of controversy, and that's Gonzalo Higuain. He's going to cost 9.5 million, and it's a fee that some have argued that it's too much for Argentine forward, but some have also said that it is justifiable. But today's show, we're going to look at these two sides. Is Gonzalo Higuain going to settle in the Premier League, and would he be a good buy to your fantasy Premier League team? And much later in the show, we would discuss that with my two usuals, Enoch and Enam. But I also put out a Twitter poll, and we were answering that question. It was very interesting which answer did come out there. And I'll bring you that at the end of the show. So we would have to, first of all, break down this Higuain move. And joining me would be Enoch and Enam. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, and yeah, it is Gonzalo Higuain that we're going to talk about today, and I'm in the company of Enam, and good to have you guys on the show.
Good to have you.
Oh, you guys don't sound. Was your game week 23 that bad?
Oh, it was actually good.
It was good for you,
Good, yeah.
and for you,
It was better. I'll take it like that.
But yeah, of course, the subject of discussion today is Gonzalo Higuain, and I'm going to start off with you. Do you think it's a good move overall for Chelsea?
I think it's actually a good move because at the end of the day, they didn't have too many options.
Yeah.
So Gonzalo Higuain is actually the best they can afford at the moment. So I think it's going to work out for them.
But you are a Chelsea fan, and for you, you've been crying out for a number. Now you think this is a good move?
I think Higuain is actually the best striker we could have got on the market right now. We don't, considering the fact that we don't have a lot of strikers in the market recently, and then for a 31-year-old, and then considering how the move went about, I think Higuain is actually he's okay. It's okay.
Now of course, we have to talk about FPL and the number of points that he is going to bring aboard. You have options of Aguero out there, Gabriel Jesus, Aubameyang, for 9.5 million. That is close to a Firmino price. Let me start with you. Would you jump in on Higuain? He could be a good differential, and it could go wayward. So which side of the ship do you fall onto?
So I was a bit undecided initially, but I think based on historical facts, I'm not going to go with Higuain immediately. He's coming from the Italian league.
Yeah.
The EPL is actually a fast-paced league. He's generally a slow player, as we already know. And at 31 years, like Enoch mentioned, he's actually on the older side. So I think he's going to suffer slightly in terms of getting used to the league. He's not going to just jump in and then start scoring goals. You definitely have to get a feel of the league first and then probably get used to it, and then his striker's instincts will actually come to the fore. But so currently, I think it's almost like a wait and see option for Higuain because I think he's going to suffer slightly in the opening stages of his time with Chelsea.
Well, you say that he will take time to settle, but don't you think, being with the same coach that he has worked with, maybe he may be used to the methods and he may just hit the ground running because he does know what Sarri is about?
So actually, that's the only saving grace for Chelsea at the moment because he's worked with Sarri before. He knows the system. He's most likely going to thrive under Sarri, but I don't think you hit the ground running immediately. That's the only problem.
That's the only problem. Of course, the question that we did put out there in terms of the Twitter poll was whether you would be getting Gonzalo Higuain into your squads for game week 24. And as I said, it was a very interesting choice by the public. I'll provide the answer at the end of the show. But he's a little bit skeptical about jumping in on this Higuain bus. But Enoch, I think you are probably at the driver's seat on the bus because you are excited by this move.
Yeah, that was the first thing I actually did. I replaced Jimenez with Higuain. And then, I had a 4.7 million on my sitting doing nothing, so I just had to invest it. And then the truth is that now Kane is injured.
Yeah.
And we don't even have any good striker for the EPL so far. When we talk about FPL, any striker giving us a lot of returns. And then you will say EPL is fast-paced, fine. But this is the Sarri ball. He knows the Sarri ball. He's playing with one of the best wingers in England, if not the world, Eden Hazard. we all know that Chelsea are creating a lot of chances and that they just need a striker, someone who can score the goals. And Hazard was being interviewed earlier and he mentioned that sometimes they play all the games and they just need a striker to convert, and there is no one there to do that. Let's talk about the fact that Higuain, after he moved to AC Milan, he scored 8 goals out of 15 matches. Even in that move, he wasn't so convincing, as in he didn't like the move because it looks as if he was being sacked. Let's look at the move that he moved, where he moved because he wanted to move, when he went to Napoli. The best season under Sarri, 36 games, 36 goals in 35 matches.
Of course, that's a record in Italy.
Yeah.
Actually, and then the fact is that Higuain is a very good striker. I don't know why you won't go for him. I don't know what you are going to wait for, because when you wait at your own peril. You are going to see the red arrows.
But you know the game can be very, very cruel. FPL is all about end product, end points. He could contribute very, heavily in a game and probably not score or assist, and that would just leave him with 2 points.
I think he's just going to hit the ground running. We are playing Bournemouth away. That's an easy game, and then yeah, it's a very cheap game, obviously, considering how Chelsea plays.
Yeah.
And even when we play the supposedly big teams, we possess the ball. We scored against City. Bournemouth is not a team that I'm going to actually sit Higuain down and then think that, oh, he's a new striker, he can't do anything. No. Straight into my team, he's going to get me the points.
Is he going to be an option for a captain pick?
That one will be too early.
All of a sudden, your confidence does come down. So that means that you do have some doubts in terms of Gonzalo Higuain. But let me come to you. Do you think that this whole traditional Chelsea number 9 problem, starting from Kezman, there's been the likes of Boularus, there's been Falcao, and most recently there's been Morata. Is that a voodoo that you think may affect Gonzalo Higuain? You know, that does materialize because of the pressure that comes in from the media. Do you think the media and the English crowd, particularly Chelsea fans, would affect how Gonzalo Higuain does settle in the Premier League?
So actually that's going to play a big role. Definitely going to play a big role. The media in England, as we all know, can be quite wicked at times, let me put it that way. So it depends on him. He's definitely a seasoned striker, and I hope those things won't get to him. But I mean, a player is a player. His confidence levels are definitely going to be based on his performances, and then in turn based on what the media and then fans say about him. But I trust Higuain is going to go or move above those things and then perform at his best if he can.
If he can. And the last words on Higuain to you, and what do you think will be the ideal front three in order to complement a striker like Higuain? You're looking at the weapon that Chelsea does have in terms of squad.
Well, I think obviously you can't sit down Eden Hazard. And then I will personally go for Pedro, because he knows how to give the final third pass as compared to Willian. Willian can be selfish at times. He can be silly when he gets to the final third. And then I won't fancy Cho because he's too young. He's now coming into the game. And Hazard, Pedro, Higuain.
Yes. Callum has the
chosen one.
Oh yes.
Definitely the chosen one, not the Cho that we eat here. He is Callum Hudson-Odoi. His dad did play for Accra Hearts of Oak, but I doubt he's going to play for Ghana. He's currently playing in the U teams of England. But we have dissected this Higuain move, and for Enoch, of course, he's the Chelsea fan, and he has been looking forward to a number 9, and he is confident that Higuain would hit the ground running in the Premier League. So Higuain is already in his team, but he's skeptical about choosing him as a captain. For Enam, he thinks Higuain will do all in the long run, but he's just not getting into his team in terms of game week 24, what we're actually looking at. But we go on to our captain picks, and we do start off Mohamed Salah. And can we have a captain pick list without Mohamed Salah? He plays a weakened Leicester side who conceded 4 goals against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you do expect a lot of goals to come on in that match.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, picking Salah for a captain for game week 24 is a no-brainer in my opinion. He's obviously the man of form. He secured 4 double-digit hauls in his last 5 games with 5 goals and 2 assists. So, I mean, Salah is definitely your man if you are going for an automatic captain pick. He's owned by 50% of FPL managers, so you are very likely to plummet down the rankings if he scores big and you don't own him or don't captain him. So
I do not own Mohamed Salah, by the way. I keep on kicking myself in the foot. Just buy him. But if I need to buy him, I probably need to get a -8 or 16. I'd probably play my wild card, which I'm keeping for much later. So
I hope you don't have Alonso.
Yeah, I got rid of him. I brought in Kolasinac.
Finally.
I think he's not going to make the lineup for next game
Yeah,
because Emerson has improved a lot, and he did well against Tottenham Hotspur. So probably he may get into the lineup. But to you, Enoch, Aubameyang, it's been a tough ride for Aubameyang owners, and I am involved. He gives you a 16 and he drops to a 2 or a 1. We saw a 2 last week, but he's playing a Cardiff side that find it very difficult to keep clean sheets, especially away. Definitely Aubameyang should be on the score sheet in that game.
Well, I think this time around, owners of Aubameyang are actually going to have a lot of fun. They are playing a Cardiff side. They've kept only 2 clean sheets. And then they've conceded 44 goals.
That's huge.
That's huge. And then, for me, I think this is the time for Aubameyang to actually catch up with Salah in terms of the golden boot. And then he's going to do that. He's going to get us. I'm not going to do this again, but I'm tempted to do it. A hat-trick for Aubameyang. A hat-trick for Aubameyang.
He knows why. He knows why he's saying that.
A hat-trick for Aubameyang this time around. Arsenal want to still be in the top 4. We see how Manchester United are actually climbing and how they are playing recently with a new manager. Yeah. And then Chelsea are also, Arsenal is actually chasing Chelsea. And then Manchester United is chasing Chelsea and Arsenal. Yeah. So you can't drop points. And if you can't drop points, then you can't drop points in the teams in the relegation zone. And then Cardiff, they're already in the relegation zone playing Arsenal at home. I think they're in trouble. And Aubameyang is going to give
big trouble for Cardiff there. And another team that may be in trouble is Burnley, and they have to go to Old Trafford. And it's a time where you just do not want to face Manchester United. Of course, you see Rashford in very, very good form and scoring on 3-4 consecutive game weeks. He seems to have rewarded his fantasy Premier League managers very well. And now he's the most owned player in the game. Very, very big achievement for the young English striker. And of course, he's on our captain pick. Do you have a dilemma between Rashford and Pogba? And I know you're going with Rashford, but why are you picking the Rashford over Pogba?
Okay, so I actually don't own Pogba, so it makes my job of choosing Rashford easier. Yeah. He's obviously another player on form. He has 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 matches or last 5 games, where he's actually produced attacking returns in 4 of them. He only played 10 minutes against Burnley the last time round in the reverse fixture, and he failed to score or provide any attacking returns. But
that was under Mourinho.
Exactly. Right now he's under a new regime, and he's been let out, or he's been let free to roam and do his business as an out-and-out striker. Yeah. So I believe he's going to secure points for anybody who is lucky enough to own him. And I mean, if you don't own him, then trouble for you if he scores big as well. But I mean, Burnley are a side who have won 2 games in their last 3 matches, but those have been against lonely sides, Huddersfield and then Fulham. Yeah. So I believe they are not going to see too much of the ball against United, and I'm trusting Rashford to come away with the goals.
Rashford to come away with the goals. And of course, last on our captain list is Sigurdsson, and he's a bit of a differential and a wild pick, considering Everton and how poor their performances have been. But it's a case of how they just can't be poorer than Huddersfield, and how they seem to be, they have lost their way after parting ways with David Wagner, and their performance against Manchester City, of course, was nothing to write home about. And you do see them now building for life in the Championship. They clearly have accepted that. It's a little bit too late. 10 points with just about 15 games to go was just too little. And Sigurdsson, he's on set-piece duty. He scored last week, although Everton lost. And if Everton are going to get any goals, you should be sure that the Iceland guy should be in there.
Yeah. Looking at Everton, first, when you take the Everton team, the first player you were going to pick out was Richarlison.
Yeah, but he has been sold by almost everyone, including me. Like,
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
Patience for someone going blanks.
Yeah,
for about
too
3
many
games.
blanks, just a
Too
little
many
bit
blanks.
too many. Yeah,
It's too much, and then you'll be seeing your red arrows, and you don't want that. You need your bragging rights.
yeah.
And for Sigurdsson, considering the fixtures that we have, he will be a very good captain pick. But then if you have Rashford, if you have Salah, if you have Aubameyang, I think it will be.
But Rashford is the most owned player in the game, and that means that you can be sure that about
Everyone is
30%
going
or
to-
40% of the owners are going to captain him. So
Yeah.
if you want to, push up in
Stand
your
out.
mini leagues, it is time to think out of the box, and Sigurdsson could provide an option.
Well, I'm not so convinced with Sigurdsson right now, because although they are playing Huddersfield,
Yeah.
okay, Huddersfield are going to fancy their chances against Everton because Everton too have been poor.
Yeah.
Well, they cannot be poorer than Huddersfield though, but then this is the EPL, and now they feel at least if you're even going down, we have to go down with a fight.
Yeah.
So he's on set piece duties. He's a very good player, very good wild card. You can get him in there, but I'm not going to say captain him. It's going to affect my credibility. No.
he is throwing Sigurdsson under the bus over there, and so he is not going to captain Sigurdsson, judging by how he put that across. But I think he's going to be a good option, one for you to consider, especially if you want to, just push a little higher in terms of your mini leagues. A very, very good player in Sigurdsson, and I'm sure he's going to continue his goal scoring form that he has started. But lastly, guys, your personal captain picks for the week out of all these guys, who do you think you'll be going with finally?
Mohamed Salah.
Mohamed Salah for you. And, for you? Rashford. So
Yeah.
there you do have a Salah versus Rashford. The battle of who is the most popular in the Fantasy Premier League game. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on this. What's the Joy Fantasy Football Show? My name is Owuraku. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And before I do go, I promised you about a poll that I put out there about Gonzalo Higuain. Now let's check out the results and see what most of you do think. So on your screens, you do see that a lot of you are saying no, and 39% saying no, that you're just not going to get an Argentine in for game week 24. But followed by that is a yes. That's 31% of you saying yes, you are going to get him in your squad. And third on the list is the maybe later gang. I'm sure I'm going to see, and I'm in there. He probably voted for the maybe later. That's 30% of you saying that. And it was, I think it's a fair reflection. For me, I'm not getting him. I'm also in a maybe later. So yeah, it was a 2 maybe later versus Enoch going with a big yes. And it was a pleasure having you. Hope to see you same time next week as we do bring you episode 25. All the best in your upcoming game week. Hopefully you do climb up in your mini leagues. But up until I do see you, always remember, Fique Lindo, which basically means stay beautiful.